What's going on, everyone? My name is Benjamin Nowak with Frank's Great Outdoors, coming at you because the State Fish-Off for Michigan is coming to the Saginaw Bay, our backyard, this upcoming weekend, August 7th and 8th. That's Friday and Saturday. Now, what's really unique about this tournament is that these smallmouth are really spread out. The water is a little bit warmer than usual. It's higher, so these fish some of them are already in those deep summer patterns, and some are up shallow still feeding on bait fish in that shallow grass. But a big X factor in this tournament is going to be the largemouth bass. So I want to cover a couple baits that you guys can have rigged up, ready to go, whether you're chasing smallmouth in deep water, shallow water, or you're kind of defaulting to largemouth to try and make the state team. Like I mentioned, that really is going to be an X factor because it's probably going to take 17 or 18 pounds a day to make the state team, and you can get that accomplished with largemouth bass. But if you want to win, you're going to need 20 to 25 pounds a day. That's going to come on smallmouth in deeper water situations, whether you're fishing around moderate depth grass or you're fishing deep water around big rock piles. Smallmouth are going to be the key player if you want to have a shot to win this tournament. So these are some baits we have here at Frank's Great Outdoors to get you guys ready and prepared for this tournament. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is a Smallmouth Staple, and that is a tube. This is a green pumpkin purple tube from Strike King. Really effective tool whether you're fishing deep with a big 3/4 ounce head, stroking it off the bottom to get these fish to react to it, or you're dragging it around shallower water situations to imitate goby. Green pumpkin purple is an awesome color regardless of the depth you're fishing. Now, smallmouth love a tube, so these Strike King 3.5-inch tubes are going to be a great choice when you're fishing shallow water and these fish are closer to bottom. Now, as these fish start to lift up, as they start to orient more up in the water column, you're going to want to go to something like a drop shot, which is another smallmouth staple. And these are a couple baits that I would recommend. One that's more of a goby imitation and one that is a bait fish imitation, because a lot of these fish are around that grass, keying in on those perch and those shiners and shad that are up in the water column, hanging around these isolated grass patches. So the first bait I'm going to talk about is the X-Zone Lures Slammer. Now, this is a really effective bait. Brandon Pollock just won on Lake Champlain with this bait, but it imitates a goby really well. It can also be used to imitate a lot of those smaller bait fish that are up in the grass, those juvenile, young of the year bait fish that these big smallmouth like to key in on. The X-Zone Slammer works really effectively. Now, this color is Melon Temptation. The reason I'm showing you guys this one is because it looks like a goby. You have that green pumpkin back, you have that whitish pearl belly with a little bit of blue glimmer. So it looks like a lot of the gobies we have out here on the bay. It's going to be a great choice if you guys are looking for kind of a crossover presentation. But if you're in or around smallmouth that are exclusively feeding on bait fish, something like the Berkeley Champs Minnow is a really effective choice as well. Whether it's a shiner or perch or a variety of different bait fish, you can really key in on it. Small, natural profile that'll look great on a drop shot. Now, a bait that gets overlooked a lot of times when guys are smallmouth fishing is a crankbait. But out here on the bay, a crankbait is a really effective tool to both cover water, but also get bites from those really aggressive fish. And the first one I want to talk about is a Strike King 3XD or 5XD diving crankbait. These dive basically down to 10 to 12 foot for a 3XD or 15 to 17 foot for a 5XD. These are great tools for covering water, whether you're fishing rock, whether you're fishing shallow grass. You can kind of keep this bait either on bottom or slightly up in the water column and trigger bites from those fish. Colors I would recommend, something like the green gizzard shad, which is more translucent, your natural sexy shad, which is going to be a little bit better if it gets overcast on you guys, or if it gets dirtier on you guys and you get to your area on the bay and the water is a little bit off color, go to something with a more chartreuse base, look like a perch, stand out a little bit more against that dirtier water. And that's going to help you guys catch those fish that are in that area, even when the water gets a little bit off-colored on you. Another really effective tool on the bay is a Lipless Crankbait. So a 1/2 ounce Strike King Red Eye Shad is a really effective tool. Chrome blueback is probably one of the most popular colors on Lake Huron all around, all year long, whether you're fishing 0 feet, 15 feet. It's an effective tool to cover water and draw bites from really big smallmouth. So you're going to want a Lipless Crankbait on deck regardless of where you're fishing. I keep mentioning the largemouth. I'm going to talk to you guys about basically my most effective tool if I were going largemouth fishing, and that is a spinnerbait. I have two different options here to show you guys. So the first spinnerbait I want to talk about is the Z-Man Sling Blades. It has a really unique wire design and head design that's going to keep that bait tracking true, and that's going to be a great tool to cover a lot of those shallow reeds with. You can cover water really quickly, draw those reaction strikes from those fish that are cruising around looking for bait fish. Now, a lot of times in that shallower water, I'm going to go to something with a chartreuse head and chartreuse mane color on the skirt. Just stands out, draws a lot of bites in that shallower, a little bit muddier water because we just had a bunch of rain come through. The other one that I would recommend is a 1/2 ounce Strike King KVD spinnerbait. Tried and true, catches a lot of fish, Great blade configuration with a really big hook. Now when you're running a spinnerbait, I personally do not run a trailer hook, especially when I'm fishing around the reeds. It's going to keep you from hanging up. It's going to be a great tool to bounce off those reeds, cast it way back up in there, and slowly reel it back out. So those are the two spinnerbaits that I would recommend to you guys. But hopefully, with me breaking down these products, giving you guys a little bit of rundown, this is going to help you guys be successful when you come out here to fish the state championship. Now, if there's any products or anything you guys have questions about, come into the store, check us out, visit us, and we'll help you guys get set up for that tournament on the bay. And if you're not fishing the tournament on the bay, just come in and visit us, talk bass fishing, because there's phenomenal bass fishing on Lake Huron that a lot of people overlook.